Yeah, can I not swing? Is that what you're saying?
You can hit.
Nope, I can't. It's not up. Can't swing. Hey everybody, that range life on the road. This is a road trip we've been promising. I'm here with, we got Chris over there. The Riv is on this camera. Intern Grant's on that camera. Jason Hilland of Sub70 Golf. Jay Armour's over there looking pretty. As always, we're at the 70. You've heard about it. You wanted to see more. We're here. We're doing it. Jason, today, I'm going to get fit for the 659 irons.
We just don't know which one in the 659 yet.
I don't know which. I've been very excited. The first time I saw these, big time golf guy moment here, was a prototype in your bag when we were playing, and I said, wow, it looks amazing, but they're here, finally.
We got them.
I get to check them out. So do me a favor before we get going into this fitting. Tell me a little bit about the 70 high level, real high level, and then the 659 iron.
All right, so the 70, we wanted to be as much about hanging out, watching sports, having a beer, and making like a cool, casual, but like kind of low-key atmosphere as much as about the golf. So we hopefully brought sort of the sub-70 kind of understated vibe with, you know, the ability to fit the golf clubs, all that kind of stuff. So that was sort of the vision. And then hopefully we kind of put it together. It has like a cool old school feeling, but you know, the tech of the fitting equipment, all that stuff, and a place you could easily, you know, hang out at for an evening.
Which you can, and I've done, and it's awesome, super sick. We will have future content on that, more about the place, just hanging out, because I would argue that's more fun than the golf here, but
it's debatable.
It is debatable, especially if you're hanging out with us. Anyway, 659 irons. I'm gonna leave it there. You tell me about them.
All right, so we brought out 3 clubs in the series. So the first 639, which was our first forged series of irons when we launched Sub70 Golf, had a forged cavity and just a blade. And then from the customer feedback, they kind of wanted something in between it where you'd still have workability, kind of a compact design, but with a little bit of forgiveness, kind of like the best of both worlds. So we added a tour cavity called the TC. So now in the 659, we made the CB a little bit more game improvement oriented. You can still work it. It's still soft, right? It's still clean looking. The TC sits in the middle. Then, of course, the big boy, we got the MB blade for the elite players. So the idea is you can kind of pick your lane or mix and match the 3 up, which my guess is with your ability, you're probably going to be something like that with maybe a little help on the lower end, a little precision on the, you know, scoring clubs. And you find that, you know, exact area where you mix and match them together, probably to make the perfect set, or you can just stay in your own lane with them. There's no right or wrong answer. That's the cool part.
All right, beautiful. All right, well, I think that covers it.
Shall we?
Let's get fitting.
All right.
All right, just got done testing my gamer, so they had some base data, really exciting stuff. Jason, what did you see? What do you think?
I think the gamers were actually really close because, like, you are in the golf business, you know your equipment pretty well, so it's a pretty good fit. But here's what I'm seeing.
Big time golf guy.
Big time golf guy, exactly.
Right.
Got like podcasts and everything. Okay, so it's close, right?
It's close, yeah.
It is close. I think with your path, we want to get hitting just a little bit of a power fade, right? So I want it to kind of fall to the right. The spin rate's a little bit high.
Okay.
So we're going to see if we can optimize the spin rate a little bit. The height is good, and when you're squaring it up, it's really good. But we're just it's almost going to make a fine tuning with this one. Then we're going to see between some shafts, some heads, if we can just get a little bit more out of it, where you want a little help and maybe a little bit more precision. I still think the scoring club with the blade might be the way to go.
Okay.
But you're you have a good baseline, but we're going to see if we can tighten it up a little more.
I will tell you, at the very least, I will be walking away with more confidence in my golf game. This makes me feel probably better than I really am.
Well, we'll put it together, see what we do.
Sounds good.
All right.
All right, hit the gamer. Tried some CB and TC 659s with different shaft combinations. What did you see?
Okay, so from the start, I thought your gamers were close, but I thought we could get them, a little bit better, right?
Okay, yeah.
And from what I saw on your speed, which you still have, because you were like 96, 97 miles an hour with a 6-iron, which is actually really good. You were playing like a kind of a stiff, but we need you in an extra stiff.
Okay.
Right? So by putting you in an extra stiff, the spin rate, and we used a Project X 6.5 full weighted big boy shaft, but we went from the stiff to the X, and the spin rate went down like, say, so it was close, but went down like 300 RPMs. So we're much more optimized, and we're testing a 6-iron. The other cool thing was, I think we need to work on your lie angle a little bit, because yours are currently 1 upright. And with your path, because you kind of play a power fade as your normal path, right? It's coming a little over, which is fine because you have enough horsepower. We want it to fall to the right a little bit. We don't want to hit the pull hook, because that one's like bad.
Right.
Think about golf course architecture, long left, bad. So with the stiffer shaft and the more optimized spin rate, we had a much tighter dispersion, right? So we kind of optimized it out. So now we were hitting a little bit more of the power fade. It got tighter. So, golf is like, how good are your misses? And I think we got ahead on the longer irons and the mid irons. I think we're going to use some form of combination, maybe like 4 or 5 CB, where we have a little higher launch, a little bit more spin to keep that ball up in the air, which is good for your longer irons. We're still optimized out with that shaft.
Yep.
And then as we get to the mid irons, we have a little less offset, so it gets a little tighter from like that scoring kind of club. It sits a little bit more neutral.
Yep.
And it's just going to have that little fall off fade. And we're not going to make these upright because we want it to fall off, right? So I think, like you said, your first set was good, but between having 3 different clubs to kind of work with, we're not at the top section yet. We still got to see what your scoring clubs are going to be. But the numbers prove, like math doesn't lie, we got better spin rate, more optimization, tighter dispersion, net better result from just kind of using all the parts that fit in it. So I think we saw, improvement with the numbers.
I mean, it's sort of anecdotal. The data also speaks for it, but I think what really stood out I'll tell you, even through it, my gamers, going right back to them, feel more comfortable to me, and I would argue better, but it doesn't take a lot to look up there and go, I have much better control with the clubs you're fitting me into versus that, for many of the reasons you just mentioned. But just that level of control was immediately noticeable and something I could feel in my hands.
And I think, too, once you got used to that 6.5 shaft, you're like, at first it feels stiffer, which makes sense, right? Because it was stiffer, but then once you kind of got it grooved, the dispersion got tighter, and then we were hitting that little, Brendan DeYoung fade? Little fade. So it was good, right? Like, that's what we want.
I liked it. It felt very controllable and playable.
I'm glad, because I thought your first set was close, that we actually saw some improvements. And you have a good golf swing. We just needed to optimize it out a little bit.
I agree. All right, let's figure out scoring clubs.
Let's figure it out.
Shine your light, I know you
tried out the Muscleback 659 option in the pitching wedge to see how it would go, maybe in a shorter iron for me. What did you see there?
So this is where it gets really interesting because your tempo with the shorter clubs definitely got smoother, right? Mm-hmm. So we still want to keep the heavy shaft, but I think we have to soft step that 6.5 Project X to kind of correlate with the tempo being better. And maybe like your 9 in pitching wedge, you were still saying like sometimes your current 8 iron goes a little bit left, right? And the tempo gets a little bit quick. So we hope that heavier shaft would help with that. But I think we soft step the last 2, and I know you have a love for blades and you have the skill set to play it. So here's my thought. On the 8 on up, we go blades, because here's the cool part. I think we got the shafts dialed in, but maybe, you know, if you find that the 8, the mishits are still, well, hopefully not, but if they are a little bit much or something like that with the blade, we can always take the head off, use the same shaft, put a TC head on in the 659 and interchange them, right? That's the cool part of having the custom shop. But I think early in the year, you love blades. We take the 8, we kind of cut it regular, you know, normal 6.5 like the rest of the set. We don't go upright in any of these clubs again.
Right.
Let's try some blades. The launch angle was improved, right? We had a little lower launch, more ball speed, but the descent angle was actually the same as your old club, but your originals kind of started off higher. So essentially, it was more efficient with the 659 head. And also, wasn't going left very much. Makes sense, less offset, more neutral, which we want yours to fall to the right. So I think we're gonna use, and we didn't know we were actually gonna do this, all 3 heads, which is kind of cool, in one set to kind of help you where you want the long irons, you know, kind of take the mid irons where we think we can optimize it out, and then get those scoring clubs to be scoring clubs.
Yeah, I love it. Well, it's definitely an eye-opening experience. I was just excited to check out the new clubs, but I feel like we're genuinely improving my game. And just to say, I'm really anxious to get them going because I feel like I'm going to play better golf, and that's not hyperbole. I really do.
I think we definitely had a good set to start with, but I think we really dialed it in and got something that's going to be more optimized out. And the proof will be in the pudding, right? You're going to give a field report, try it. We'll see how it goes.
Absolutely. Jason, thank you so much.
Doctor.
It's been an absolute pleasure as always. Don't forget, by the way, to go down below, hit the bell, subscribe, do all the YouTube things. We really appreciate it. We're at the 70. Jason Hilland, Bill Bush, Chris McEwen, the Riv, intern Grant, Jay's is over there somewhere.
Drink a beer.
Let's go drink a beer. We'll see you next time.